Darkseid is one of the greatest threats in the DC universe. More than a foe for Superman, he is a new god existing on a higher dimensional plane. The Darkseid seen in most stories is only an avatar. The true Darkseid is nearly limitless. As his son Orion explains, he is a universal constant. If one version falls, another rises, because reality cannot exist without him. After the Flash isolated Earth Prime from the multiverse, Darkseid began evolving into a single, fully realized entity. This surge of power sparked a hunger for knowledge he could sense but not understand, leading him to seek the Spectre. To reach it, he built a machine powered by his own blood, even severing his hand. When that was not enough, his son Calibac offered an army and suggested attacking Earth, but Darkseid refused and sacrificed his son to fuel the machine. He attacked heaven and hell to find the Spectre, ignoring offers of peace or power. He eventually freed the Spectre from Eclipso and located its human host, Jim Corrigan. The Quintessence, cosmic overseers, warned that the Spectre cannot be forced to bond. Darkseid used the machine to wish for the bond, which succeeded. The Spectre then explained the cosmic balance. Reality is shaped by hope, embodied by Superman, and restraint, embodied by Darkseid. He is an essential part of the universe, though his power would fade over time. Refusing this, Darkseid allowed himself to die and awakened in the primal Elseworld. There, he reshaped a new Earth around despair, creating the Absolute Universe, where heroes exist but lack key strengths. In the Absolute Universe, Bruce Wayne grows up in a working-class family in Gotham's crime alley. His mother is a social worker, his father a teacher, and Bruce excels in academics, especially engineering. Many of his future enemies, Killer Croc, Riddler, Penguin, Two-Face, and Catwoman, are his childhood friends. At 10, Bruce entered a young engineers competition with a bat-shaped bridge design. His father taught him that tools meant to help others should not intimidate, inspiring Bruce to redesign it practically. He won, but tragedy struck when a mass shooting at the zoo killed his father while saving the children. His mother survived, giving Bruce a continued family connection. Guided by Jim Gordon and supported by friends, Bruce grew close to Selina and eventually committed himself to fighting Gotham's violence. He trained with allies, studied civil engineering and politics, and began operating out of a garage. Initially, his costume was designed to intimidate, but he refined his approach, targeting the sources of crime rather than street gangs. Using skyscrapers as hidden strongholds, he equipped them with armored vehicles and tactical tools, marking the true birth of Batman. Key allies include Gordon as mayor, Barbara as a trusted cop, and Alfred as a British intelligence agent and mentor. Gotham's criminals are also transformed. Black Mask leads a gang under Joker's influence, Victor Jr. becomes a deadly Mr. Freeze, and Arkham houses twisted experiments, including Killer Croc. Bane is the universe's most formidable threat. Born in the war-torn island of Santa Prisca, he survives brutal imprisonment and gains immense power and intellect through Joker's Venom experiments. He captures Batman, tortures him psychologically, and attacks his friends. Oswald is disfigured, Edward suffers brain damage, and Harvey is partially burned, cementing a new, dangerous world where childhood bonds can become deadly conflicts. In the Absolute Universe, Superman is reimagined as a defender of the oppressed, shaped by a rigid class system on Krypton. Each Kryptonian belongs to a lifelong guild, with the Science Guild holding nearly all power. Superman's parents, Jor-El and Lara, were brilliant but barred from the Science Guild for criticizing its corruption. Forced into the Labor Guild, they lived on a farm in the Redlands, far from Krypton's cities. The iconic S symbol represented their status, a mark of laborers rather than heroism. Cal, raised on the farm, grew up learning the value of hard work and responsibility. While working in a mine, his father discovered Krypton was dying, but the ruling guild ignored the warning. Lara secretly built a large spaceship to save their family and a few others, but their departure was cut short when the planet began to explode. Each family member entered a personal AI-powered suit, leaving Cal as the sole survivor. He drifted through space for months, guided only by the ship's AI, Soul, before finally arriving near Earth. On Earth, Cal landed in Kansas and was taken in by the Kent family. His body gradually adapted to the sun, granting him powers like super strength, flight, and heat vision. Unlike the original, he could also burst into flames from absorbing solar energy. With Soul's help, he learned to communicate and began helping the local community, seeing Smallville as a mirror of Krypton's red fields. Cal soon became a global hero after confronting Lazarus, a powerful corporation exploiting workers and controlling the weather to destroy farms. Using his powers, he sabotaged their operations, ensuring laborers were safe and paid, earning the name Superman from the people he saved. While he worked alone, he occasionally returned to help Smallville and Martha Kent, now in a nursing home. Lazarus's private army, the Peacemakers, relentlessly pursued him. One agent, Christopher Smith, became unstable after repeated defeats by Superman, escalating civilian casualties and forcing Superman to reconsider his approach. Another major adversary is Brainiac, who before arriving on Earth was part of a rigid alien collective where he was relegated to menial labor for decades. Prolonged isolation and traumatic events drove him insane, eventually leaving him a solitary collector of civilizations. On Earth in 1938, he allied with Lazarus founder Ra's al Ghul and immortal industrialist obsessed with controlling the planet's future. Al Ghul views Superman as both a threat and a potential heir, aiming to manipulate the hero while pursuing his vision of global resurrection. Through these challenges, Absolute Superman emerges as a lone champion of the downtrodden, navigating moral complexity while resisting forces that exploit power and wealth. In the Absolute Universe, Diana grows up alone in Hell as the last Amazon. Her birth coincides with a mysterious offense by the Amazons, for which Zeus imprisoned them and entrusted Diana to the sorceress Circe. Apollo delivered her with no instructions, forbidding even the word Amazon. Circe began caring for Diana after the girl instinctively defended herself from a snake. They built a home on the wild isles of Hell, surviving attacks from demons, beasts, and lost souls. As Diana matured, she learned of her heritage. She is a warrior created to protect humanity from ancient monsters. Circe encouraged her to embrace her destiny despite the gods' efforts to hide it. The gods appear alien and otherworldly. Diana was forged to be a weapon against the gods, designed as a kind girl because compassion is underestimated by the divine. A stranded soldier, Stephen Trevor, arrives on their island and becomes a close ally. Diana discovers a spell to return him to Earth, but sacrifices her right arm to complete it. Circe later crafts a magical replacement, and Diana leaves Hell to battle ancient monsters, settling in Gateway City. Relying on magic, she wields 3 lassos: Nemesis, which punishes sin, Sacrifice, which transforms targets, and a third of unknown power. Her mount, Pegasus, is an undead winged horse and loyal companion. She gains Prometheus's blood to empower her lasso and uses Sacrifice creatively, once transforming herself into Medusa to defeat the monster Tetracide. Allies include historian Barbara Minerva, who aids her at times. Diana uncovers Area 41, a secret facility atop an ancient maze holding mythical creatures and captive Amazons. She rescues one, revealing her survival to the imprisoned Amazons. Overseer Veronica Cale holds several of her villains, including Zatanna, hinting at future conflicts. Absolute Wonder Woman portrays Diana as a magically empowered Amazon navigating a hostile world, fulfilling her destiny as humanity's protector. Absolute Martian Manhunter is the most experimental series in the Absolute Universe, presenting a radical reimagining of the character. Unlike his prime counterpart, he is not a survivor of Mars, but an abstract alien entity existing within thought itself. This being bonds with FBI agent John Jones, who serves as its human host. Though called Martian for John's understanding, the entity originates from a distant galaxy whose light will never reach Earth. John, initially stationed in Middleton, Colorado, survives a devastating terrorist attack that destroys an entire building. The alien's bond is the true reason for his survival. Nicknamed Martian by co-workers for his distant, scattered demeanor, John soon begins perceiving thought smokes emanating from people, allowing him to glimpse their minds. The entity slowly reveals itself, showing John memories of comfort and warmth, though he initially doubts its existence. John's abilities become crucial when he uncovers an imminent mass shooting. Using the Martian's guidance, he deceives the shooter by impersonating a childhood friend, while the entity enters the attacker's mind, removing hatred. Though the shooter dies at the hands of police, the Martian explains that a white Martian, a counterpart to itself, is influencing humans, spreading violence and chaos. The threats escalate. 24 unconnected people simultaneously harm the homeless, and multiple buildings are set ablaze. John discovers the white Martian is targeting what individuals consider home, manipulating their traumas. At a homeless shelter called Sunnyside, John coordinates with authorities while the Martian combats the attacker's negative thoughts, countering the white Martian's influence. As the alien's power grows, John becomes distant from his wife, Bridget, and son, Tyler. During a citywide blackout caused by the white Martian, Middleton descends into chaos. John is attacked, but with the Martian's aid, he fights back, simultaneously engaging the white Martian in a mental battle. The struggle culminates in John unlocking a higher level of telepathy, allowing him to share empathy across the city. This collective compassion weakens the white Martian, which John ultimately neutralizes. Despite the victory, Tyler remains unaffected by the events, hinting at lingering mysteries. Absolute Martian Manhunter explores the alien's abstract nature, human connection, and the profound psychological and moral dimensions of combating violence, making it one of the most unique and thought-provoking entries in the Absolute Universe. The Flash of the Absolute Universe is the youngest hero, gaining his powers at just 15. Unlike his prime counterpart, he has no legacy or mentor, and the Speed Force seems inaccessible in this reality. Wally West, the son of Colonel Rudy West, moved frequently as a child, leaving him socially isolated. He grew close to his mother, but her death deepened his loneliness and anxiety. When Wally's father was assigned to a secret government facility called Fort Fox, he was introduced to Project Olympus, a top-secret experiment. One of the scientists there, Eleanor Thorne, serves as this universe's version of the Reverse Flash, though her full motives remain unclear. Another scientist, Barry Allen, befriended Wally, recognizing his intelligence and offering him a part-time role at the lab. During an experiment, Wally was accidentally caught in a field of energy, transforming him into living streaks of lightning. The event killed Barry and left Wally fleeing across the desert, unaware that he had inadvertently tethered Barry's life to his own. Rudy dispatched a team known as the Rogues, disgraced soldiers previously stationed abroad, tasked with capturing Wally. Each was equipped with advanced technology and modeled after familiar Flash villains. Grodd, a psychic monkey sent to subdue Wally, instead became his loyal sidekick. Together, they found temporary refuge in a youth shelter, though Wally struggled to meet the immense caloric demands of his powers. The accident that gave Wally his abilities also destroyed the lab, releasing experimental subjects into the wild, many resembling Prime Universe villains. Wally confronted some of them, including Heatwave, whose powers his lightning reversed, returning him to a human state. He also battled the Weather Wizard, whose storms were amplified rather than diminished by Wally's energy. Eventually, the Rogues approached Wally with a proposal to abandon the rules entirely and work together as a new rogue team. Despite their offer, Wally's path remained uncertain, forcing him to navigate the balance between power, responsibility, and survival in a world where heroism comes with no guidance or legacy. Absolute Green Lantern reimagines the Lantern mythos with a focus on enlightenment rather than emotion. Hal Jordan is no longer a fearless pilot, but a toy dealer in the small town of Evergreen. John Stewart remains an architect, while Jo Mullen returns to Evergreen after her divorce. Guy Gardner serves as the local sheriff, and Simon Baz appears as a government agent. The alien figure Abin Sur, traditionally the source of Hal's ring, is redefined as a title, the controller of the green light. In this universe, light exists in 4 levels. Card, representing chaotic action; Rao, embodying restraint; Sur, the green light of correct action; and R, the highest form of total understanding. Lanterns draw power from their level of enlightenment, not emotions. This hierarchy is disputed, with dissenters forming the Black Stars, a tyrannical empire enforcing their will, led by a version of Sinestro. Their agents are called the Black Hands. Abin Sur arrives in Evergreen to judge the town, surrounding it with a green force field. Initial panic escalates as townspeople resist, leading to several being obliterated, though in reality, they are transported to Oa for judgment. Hal intervenes with yellow-painted bullets, while Jo uncovers a golden ring that grants her the green level of light. A struggle ensues, transforming Hal into the Black Hand, a vessel of chaotic power he cannot control. The crash of Abin Sur's ship brings Hal, Jo, and others together, revealing John Stewart wielding the yellow light and Guy Gardner commanding the red. They prepare for the arrival of Mojo, one of the Black Star's most destructive agents. Using her newfound powers, Jo cures Hal of the Black Hand's influence, and the team retreats to Coast City to regroup. Absolute Green Lantern explores the tension between power, morality, and hierarchy, showing how ordinary people can become extraordinary when guided by wisdom, discipline, and the responsibilities of cosmic light. Absolute Justice League introduces the heroes of the Absolute Universe coming together for the first time. In this reality, superheroes are consistently opposed by the wealthy and powerful, who see them as threats to their control. The story reveals historical context, showing Hawkmen active since the 1940s, working for the government to counter unpatriotic activities, and Green Arrow, a disillusioned billionaire who uses his wealth to act as a vigilante. The narrative also introduces the major players in Absolute Evil, including Hector Hammond, Ra's al Ghul, Thawne, Veronica Cale, and the Joker. Veronica presents a history of vigilantes, highlighting individuals like Wesley Dodds, who fought crime with knockout gas; Ted Grant, a boxer-turned-hero who was silenced through bribery; and Iron Monroe, a superhuman stuntman assassinated for opposing the system. She stresses that those who challenge the status quo face eradication or suppression. Veronica then demonstrates the threat posed by the current heroes, noting Wonder Woman's leadership in combat, Superman's global influence, and Batman's unyielding moral code. To reinforce her point, Hawkman presents the body of Green Arrow, illustrating the consequences of defiance. Veronica proposes that powerful individuals must cooperate to maintain control, creating a network of wealth and influence to manage opposition. Thorne remains skeptical, believing such people cannot trust one another, but Joker argues that while friendships are impossible, alliances are achievable. Joker reveals the discovery of the Omega Particle, a fundamental component of reality, showing that both physical and moral forces maintain balance. Those who disrupt this hierarchy represent chaos and injustice. By uniting, the new Justice League can counter these forces. Observing the meeting, Brainiac notes that each member balances the others. Thawne's doubt, Veronica's certainty, Hammond and Al Ghul's ego, and Joker's unpredictability all contribute to the team's equilibrium. Finally, Joker identifies the need for one more member and contacts a recluse on a remote farm, revealed to be Lex Luthor, setting the stage for the formation of this universe's Justice League, a team forged from ambition, intellect, and moral tension to confront the threats facing their world.